Okay, here we are again with Jack and myself on our walk, a regular morning walk. It's about 7:15 in the morning here, and Jack's out to do his stuff. So what we're talking about today, Jack's quite a fearless dog. He doesn't listen to any propaganda or anything like that. He just does his own thing, doesn't pay attention to the television or any of that nonsense. But anyway, fear. There are rumours going around Ireland and the internet regarding suspicious containers which have turned up apparently at several locations in and around Dublin and other parts of the country in the south of Ireland, Republic of Ireland. But a lot of speculation, of course, as to what these containers could be, particularly in mind that thousands of African, Asian, young fighting age men have been imported into the country over the last few years particularly. You know, COVID was such a big disease, it was very scary, all that kind of stuff, and yet all through that they were importing thousands of people from Africa with no paperwork, no medical records, nothing, and that was perfectly okay. So these containers, of course, you can speculate there's weapons, UN uniforms, etc, etc, etc. But there were similar rumours maybe a year and a half ago about containers which were, sorry, not containers, crates, which were delivered to a hotel in Dublin, where apparently some of these young men were holed up by the government and paid for by the taxpayer, of course. Highly paid by the taxpayer. They were nice hotels, you know. And the hotel owner mentioned these crates had turned up and he wasn't allowed to touch them, he wasn't allowed to know what was in them, blah 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 blah. And apparently the military delivered them. But he said he didn't want to be identified for his own safety. But the fact that he said they were delivered to his hotel was kind of a bit of a giveaway. How many hotels got these packages? Because I've only ever heard of one. So that didn't sit right with me. I thought there was something wrong with that. And then there was never any pictures of them. Like, you know, somebody puts a load of crates in your hotel, I mean, the least you can do is take a picture, right? But no, there was never any pictures or anything. And the same applies to these crates, these containers, which have apparently turned up all over the place, which nobody's allowed to know what's in them. It's rumoured that soldiers are asking questions. These are military barracks if they've turned up at. Soldiers asking questions, have been threatened with court-martial, all this kind of stuff. And yet, I haven't seen one picture of a container at all at any army barracks. Now, if you're a soldier and you're suspicious about what could possibly be in these containers, and perhaps you look at the internet now and again and you can see what the speculation is regarding what these young fighting age men have been imported into the country for, then I think as a member of the Irish military you'd be very concerned of the possibility that your government was going to supply these people with uniforms and weapons to control your colleagues and your families around the country, wouldn't you? And with that in mind, you'd think, well, I'm not allowed to ask questions, but I'm sure I can get a couple of pictures or videos. But no, there's nothing at all. And as I say, there's speculation all over the internet. I just listened to a talk with John Waters and Michael Yon, who seems to be getting a lot of airplay these days, and seems to have appeared from nowhere. So, you know, I mean, what he says is true, and what he says is perfectly valid, but he seems to have been all over the world, and he was in Japan last week, Bangkok this week. I don't know how these people make money. But anyway, that's an aside. But again, he says he's a journalist, right? And yet, you know, he's speculating as to what these containers could possibly be for, but there's no evidence that these containers exist. None that's been shown anyway. So why would people speculate? You know, we're not supposed to be in the business of speculation, although sometimes there's a lot of evidence to go on which warrants a bit of speculation, but in this case there isn't any. There's just people saying these things are there with no evidence to back it up. So is it something that's been put out by the powers that be just to keep people occupied and fearful? Because I think if I was living in Ireland right now and this speculation was going on, and well, particularly if it could be verified, then I'd be very concerned. And you know, the time to be out in the streets would be now, and seriously challenging your government. And because if this speculation turned out to be correct, then clearly your government has set a foreign army upon you to do whatever they're ordered to do, because hey, soldiers follow orders, right? So if these rumours are to be believed, every person in Ireland should be in the street. It doesn't matter, white, black, Asian, everybody who's a legitimate resident of Ireland should be on the street, outside the Parliament building. This is a war, clearly a war, especially if these rumours turn out to be true. There can be no other explanation if these rumours of these containers are true. There can be no other explanation. Now, of course, just looking at the sunrise here, that's a little lake here. Just you can see all the fish. Maybe the camera might not pick it up, but the fish jumping over there. Yeah, look at Rwanda. Look what happened there. And the rumours that are spreading about these containers in Ireland are exactly the same thing which was done in Rwanda. They shipped in container loads, crate loads of machetes, and basically gave the one tribe the signal, and they handed out the machetes and they went and hacked people to death. Thousands. 1 million, I think, 1.5 million, was it? Something like that. Now, I don't think these days machetes would be handed out. I think it's more likely to be UN uniforms and guns, especially as these are actually trained soldiers they brought in, which there is evidence to suggest. You only have to look at some of the places where they've been holed up and the types of men that are there. The ones you never really see roaming the streets of the city or anything. They're kept behind big walls, in fact, so you don't see what they're up to. And you've got the other ones, of course, the riff-raff, probably criminals actually, that have been let out of prison somewhere in Africa and just shipped to Ireland. Now perhaps they'll unleash those ones. Maybe they're a lower strata of what's coming, and maybe they'll release them with some machetes, who knows. And then it gets out of control, of course, and then they have to send in the military. But well, we shall see. Morning. Right, Jack's just got himself tangled up here. Come here. Sorry about that. I had somebody walking by there, didn't want to film them. But yeah, that's, if it has been put out by the government, or you know, what the alphabet security groups, it's doing its job, isn't it? Because it's got everybody speculating and, oh my god, this could happen, that could happen. But as I say, if people really believed that, you would think a clear and present danger to their lives would get them active, right? It would get them away from the television and start doing something. They know who these people are. They maybe don't know the ones that I've come across in small boats across the English Channel, you know, the ones that focus on. They don't talk about the plane loads that fly in on a regular basis. They don't talk about them flying at private airfields and military airfields across Britain, across Europe in fact. They don't talk about those. So we just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, if I was in Ireland I'd be extremely concerned. But I would want evidence. I would want some proof that these containers actually exist. And to date there is none. Just speculation and rumour. So I don't know what to make of it. But it's certainly taken up people's attention. So we just have to wait and see. So Jack's just doing a bit of private business. I didn't want to film him there. He's quite modest. There he is. There he goes. Jack. No, he's a bit camera shy as well. Anyway, that's about it really. But of course fear is a weapon as well, and can be used to drive people to action or to prevent them acting. Either way it works. Either way it works for the state. And I would suggest action is better than no action in some form, because if you just sit and wait for whatever may come along, you're in big trouble. Oh, there's a little alligator down there. You just see his, I don't know if this will pick it up, but you can see his head there. Let me see, I can see his body under the water. He's about, I don't know, 8-9 feet, I would say. So yeah, there's a couple of them in this lake that I've seen anyway. There is a bigger one than that, for sure. But so that's something to be scared of, one of them. I'm often out in the kayak, and you got stupid people around here who will feed alligators. And when they see somebody out in a kayak, they think you're going to feed them, and they get a bit close sometimes. And at that point, you're supposed to call the wildlife people and take that alligator out of there, or take it out, as it were. But who knows? Who knows if they'll do anything with these things? There are people who go out and hunt them. Crazy people. The only actual bit that's edible is the tail, and they make belts and everything out of them. I tell you, just another bit of Florida wildlife history. Yeah, so fear. Everything's about fear, isn't it? Look at the last 4 years. Look at the last 4 years, eh? And of course, these migrants could be used to bring in digital ID. Of course, if they all kick off, you know, the low-life ones. I mean, they kick off. That's a good excuse to bring in digital ID for everyone, even although, you know, it's not required. You know, this digital ID, isn't it laughable? It's laughable that they can create faces on the internet now in real time and make you believe that's a real person, but they're talking about the safety of digital ID. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Again, fear. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I think I'll just stop. I got distracted because there was somebody else going by there, and I don't really like people to hear what I'm talking about. So that's that. Here's Jack. He's just spotted another dog. He thinks he's interested, but he's not getting to go. Come on, Jack. Jack shows no fear. It's only a little dog, Jack. Leave it alone. Come on. Okay, we'll call it a day at that, and we'll do this again next week. Don't be scared.